The silence of Lake Superior's pristine North Shore is broken by the roar of turning wheels from the Canadian Pacific Railway's Train Number 1, making its way west across the wilderness. It's 9:30 in the morning. Flange squeals resonate from the deck truss bridge high above Little Pick River. And far away in another place and time, New York Central's premier passenger train, the 20th Century Limited, advances west to Chicago at Breakneck Mountain along the Hudson River. Both of these historic railroad scenes were painted by David Oram, an artist whose technical accuracy, attention to detail, and creative prowess have made him one of the most sought-after railroad painters today. Although he's only 34, David obtains enough commissions to paint railroad on a full-time basis. He received his first commission when he was just 17 from his photography teacher. Now his works hang in collections across North America and Europe. Based outside of Toronto, David paints in his apartment and owes much of his success to his website, www.davidaoram.com. There, readers can find out the stories behind the paintings and the trains themselves.
Some other people's ideas. Sometimes the story starts before the painting. The story's brought to me, and other times the painting starts and then the story develops as the painting progresses. So the painting I'm currently working on now is titled B&O Family. The person who commissioned the painting has done a lot of research into the crew and the train operator that was based at Leicester, Ohio. Originally, the train operator was going to be in the far distance near the train station, but he's since found the train operator still lives today, and he's agreed to let us put him in the painting. So we're going to move him to the foreground, more closer where somebody can recognize him, and he can recognize himself, because he's 92 years old. So the paintings do change as they progress. Sometimes I start right on the canvas, and sometimes I start with a full-size sketch. And if I start with a full-size sketch, what I normally do is then transfer it to the canvas. So when I start with a full-size sketch, I can work out all my proportions, I can work out the placing of the train, the buildings, and it's easier to work on the paper than it is on the canvas. It's easier to erase on paper than it is on canvas, so I can move things around on paper. So once I have the drawing finished, I then transfer it to the canvas, and then I can start my painting, in which I normally start with the sky and then work forward.
His privately commissioned paintings can cost thousands of dollars, but high-resolution prints cost far less. People can order original paintings or prints online.
A Giclée print is a high-resolution reproduction of the original painting, and it can be either printed on watercolor paper or canvas. First, I take the original painting down to my printer, who photographs it with a high-resolution digital camera. He then color matches the digital file to the original painting, so we get a close as match as possible to the original painting. At which time he shows me a proof, and if we both agree that the proof matches the original, we then produce prints from that file.
Although he had some formal training at the Ontario College of Art, David is largely self-taught. He has a passion for placing technically accurate subjects in believable settings with particular attention to lighting, shading, and texture. Everyone who loves trains knows that railroad aficionados are notorious for their demand for realistic detail. This makes painting trains a particular challenge for David.
I work from photographs, from my own or from other photographs that have been provided to me. I also work from books. I do research on the internet. Sometimes it's my own photographs. You know, if say a building still exists, I'll use existing photographs or photographs that I've taken of the building.
When the painting is done, David hangs it up and gives himself time to view it, sometimes for several weeks, just to make sure that everything looks perfect.
I just love being able to recreate like a moment in time. If it's for me, or if it's for somebody else, if it's their memory, to be able to bring that memory back to them means a lot to me. you know, to be able to put the viewer back in that moment in time. That's why I love to have my paintings, to have that kind of detail and sort of a moment where, you know, you want to get lost in the image.
David's paintings have been showcased in magazines such as The Main Streeter and Branch Line magazines. And lucky viewers of David's paintings are taken to places and times that would be utterly impossible otherwise.